There we are. I hit the right button. It's amazing. I was already in the chat. I was saying we're the only one, Sean. I saw a message from Cliff as well. He said he's a you know his main job obviously is amazing .NET developer, and then also he flies with some planes sometimes. So he said we just landed. I just landed because he's a pilot, and I'm not going to be there. Brandon is jury duty. Apparently, I learned just now, Sean. That's a thing in the UK as well.
It is, yes. I've been
Oh,
fortunate enough not to be called up yet.
it seems everyone seems to hate it, so that's cool too. I don't have it in the Netherlands, so I don't know what it's all about. I mean, obviously, I know the kind of like what you're supposed to do, but actually, I was going to Seattle the other day, the other week, and there was Juror Number Two. I think it's a movie, and I watched it. Where it's interesting. I'm not going to spoil it. You'll have to watch it. But that was about the jury duty as well, so that was really cool. Anyway, rambling. Sean, how have you been? What are you doing? What's up?
Yep, all good. Not a lot really changes. It's wet and miserable here in the UK, which is perfect for almost getting
To be
into
expected.
summertime.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keeping busy. Excited to talk about a very small amount of things, I guess, today. But
Yeah, well, that's why I can ramble about movies and other stuff. And actually, what I was just thinking of to kind of like fill the time, pat the time, we're just hanging out. It's like you said, it's almost summer, so we can get away with it. It's fine. Um, did
how
you
are
get a
you?
Switch too? How about? No, I first want to know, did you get a Switch too?
No, I think is it last night or tonight here in the UK that it opens. But no,
Oh,
I haven't
really?
haven't planned to get one. Debating as
Oh,
to what
okay.
the next console upgrade will be.
Yeah, I'm a little bit spoiled that way. I got the PlayStation 5. It's right here on my desk, which is not a great idea, but it's right here. I got the Xbox downstairs because I'm upstairs. I got it downstairs. And I was kind of like on the fence. I have a lot of open tabs. I'm a tab hoarder. I got the Amazon tab open on the Switch too. I was kind of debating, should I do it, should I not do it? And then it was out of stock anyway. And then I landed on the tab. It was in stock. I just hit the button to add it to my cart, and before I knew it, it was paid, and it's gonna be here tomorrow. So I'll let you know how it goes. I'll let you know how it goes. Yeah, mainly because the kids love it, right? I have two boys, they love it, and they are fully into Minecraft right now, which is great. But also, that's like, and they played with friends, right? But there's one person at a time playing. I didn't hook it up to all kinds of like network stuff. That's going to be for another day. So with the Switch, they play together Mario Kart, and the mother gets involved, and it's a whole thing. So I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's see what the new Mario Kart is about, and get all those things. So there we go. How am I doing? Well, I've been very busy. Thank you for asking. Finally, someone asks. No, I'm kidding. It's been very busy in May. For the people who were watching the .NET MAUI community stand-up, you definitely should watch that. If you're watching this later, also go watch that one. We talked a little bit because Microsoft built the biggest, I think, developer conference from Microsoft was 2 weeks ago, which was super amazing. I was there for the first time and I actually got to do sessions as well, so that was really crazy. But then before that, I was in Romania, .NET Days Romania, where I did a 2-day workshop and a session, and then build. And then after build, I went to Tekorama in Belgium, where I saw Stefan doing amazing sessions, and I had to do a session too. And there was Tony Edwards, our friend of the show, did a amazing session. There was lots of Maui love everywhere, so that was kind of exhausting. But yeah, I'm here. It's been crazy. It's been good. It's been a lot of fun. And here we are now talking about the .NET MAUI Community Toolkit. I see lots of people in the chat. Um, are we planning something for VS Code extension for Mac? Interesting question. If I were on top of this tech, I could bring it on screen. There we go. Are we planning something for VS Code extension for Mac? I'm not sure what you mean. Please elaborate a little further, because VS Code extension is already available on a Mac. So I'm not sure what you mean. Sean? No, sorry,
I was
George.
trying to follow up on.
Okay, what are we doing? I should look at your discussion. Okay, I'm just jumping into things here. Jitsu, how are you doing? Glenn here. Hello, Glenn. Good to see you. Are you the Glenn? Glenn? Which Glenn? Help me. Um, I think I know, but help me here. I'm doing great. You just heard, so that's amazing. Johan from the Netherlands. Hey, hello. How are you doing? You've been to some crazy places as well. Update Conf in Krakow, Poland was going on as well. I think you were there also talking about Maui and all the amazing things. So great, great, great. It doesn't have a lot of goodies that VS for Mac has. So yeah, we're getting into all the crazy discussion here. So Visual Studio for Mac was the IDE that was killed by Microsoft. I'm very sorry. And now in its place, we have the VS Code extension, the .NET MAUI extension for VS Code, so you can develop Visual Studio Code with Visual Studio Code for .NET MAUI. And kind of like the distinction there is that Visual Studio for Mac was a full IDE, right? So your integrated development environment, or whatever the acronym actually stands for. So that's like comparable to Visual Studio on Windows, but sorry, I'm distracted by the chat here. VS Code is like a text editor with a bunch of plugins, basically, right? So that's kind of like the distinction there, and that's why we will probably never have all the features of Visual Studio for Mac inside of VS Code. I'm not sure if that's necessarily a bad thing, but please, share your feedback, not necessarily here, through the proper channels of what you're missing, and that can always be considered because we've added already a crazy amount of cool stuff. And if we see enough people asking for a thing, then we know that's the thing to work on, right? That's how it works. So that's how it is.
The closest thing we have to VS for Mac is Rider, really, which I use a lot, and it works well. I know it's not a Microsoft product, but
of course, there's other products as well. I typically I get into a habit of talking about Microsoft products, of course, but there's definitely other good products as well. Just as Writer, which is an amazing product that I hear from other people as well. I don't have a lot of experience with it myself, but you should be able to absolutely use that too. So have a look if that's something that you're interested in. Glenn from the Maui assignment. Perfect, Glenn. How is the assignment going? Did it go well? It's all great. Okay, sounds good. Roy from Toronto, long time no see. Need to show you some stuff I'm working on. Always interested in that. If you have any amazing .NET MAUI projects, please reach out. I'm always interested to see that. And maybe if it's, well, I was going to say if it's cool enough, which is not really fair. I think every project is cool, but not every project can be featured on like official Microsoft channels. But I try to do my best to get as much of them on there. So I did with some other projects here. So please let me show. Okay. A lot of questions. Cool. Let me talk a little bit about actually what we're here for first, and see if we can get into questions too. Sean, you're a little bit more up to date with what's been going on with the toolkit because I've been away. We've just established that. Bring me up to speed. I think we're looking at a new release. I think people.
Yes, I mean, we obviously typically release on a Friday, so
there we go. And
maybe tomorrow. Yeah, I mean, I guess things have probably been fairly quiet. I know Brandon's pushed hard on the Popup v2, which has finally merged, and I'm hopeful that the docs PR is now ready. So we should be pretty good. That should go into the release, hopefully.
Cool.
It will go into the next release because it's merged.
Right.
Yeah, potentially.
So
it is quite a considerable change. Well,
let me see if I can bring it up here. Share screen. Don't share the wrong things. That would be. Oh no. Allow. Okay, I think it works. Okay, go here. Okay. Yes. Okay. I got this. I'm smart. I know things. Okay. So pull request closed. Then there should be something called Popup in here, I guess, because this is it V2 as well?
Yeah. So it's a rather old PR. I think it opened. I opened.
Yeah, probably. Oh, there we go. It's probably sorted by when it's open. Oh, November 2023. Wow, that's a year and a half ago.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's crazy. Yeah, because what if you recall, what's the whole story here? We have pop-ups implemented.
Yes. So this PR was originally aimed at simplifying the process of creating a pop-up and showing a pop-up within an application, because there was a few convoluted steps where you'd have to add a content view and then kind of you have to change the base class, and obviously that XAML and C# that you have to change, which felt like a lot to have to explain in documentation. And a lot of ceremony around things that you probably didn't need to do. So the original intention was to allow you to just create a content view or anything, a label, anything, make it as complex as you like, and then just say, well, show this for me in as a pop-up. So that was the original plan behind this. And then I think it was around about the start of the year at one of the stand-ups, we've had an overwhelming number of bugs in the pop-up, the original pop-up V1 implementation. And a lot of that came to do with, because we weren't using, I guess, the MAUI layout system, it was a lot of, we were having to deal with some of the layout logic on each platform. And one fix would then potentially introduce other problems, and we weren't keeping on top of that. I think if you look at it, the PR that merged was linked to something like 33 issues. So we're hopeful that actually pop-ups will be a lot more stable. There is a yeah.
All our issues are fixed. Yay!
Yep. Oh, good. There is some breaking nature to it, and we couldn't do it in a way that doesn't potentially break people. If you use it in the simplest form, you may just be okay, and it may just work, other than things like a minor namespace change. But what's worth pointing out is if you go to the wiki, there is there, and then on the right there's migrating to Popup v2. So we've now created this page that explains a little bit about why we broke it, which we've kind of just covered, and then hopefully details all of the breaking changes below. If there's not, then obviously feel free to get in touch and let us know if we've missed anything. But what you'll see is, I guess, the key things that we've changed, and hopefully in a way that should hopefully make it easy for you to apply them if you need to. Some bits have been reorganized in terms of how you control them, and then some additional features as well. Like you can now it ships with a border control by default around the content. So you don't have to worry about that kind of styling. That comes on by default, but you can turn it off. And this documentation tells you how to, and so will the docs that make it up onto learn.microsoft.com when we merge it.
Cool.
Yeah. So hopefully it's going to be a handy change, or good change for everyone. I guess the key underlying change, if people are interested, is rather than using, I guess, what was available on the platform. So if you imagine on iOS, you'd have a UI popover controller. That itself came with limitations, as you can only have one active, I think, or if you hid one, then it might hide something else because they appeared to be the same things within the ecosystem. Now we're basically presenting a content page as a modal overlay, but obviously you can achieve what looks like a pop-up because you can have a transparent background and only shows the content where you want to. You can align things again as you want to. I think the key breaking change, which I don't know how many people will become upset about, but we don't support anchoring at the moment, so you can't anchor to a view, so that's gone.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yep.
That was removed. Anchor view. Yeah. That's kind of like hard about SDKs, right? We have the same thing in the .NET MAUI SDK itself too. Like there's no telemetry or anything in there, right? So we don't know how many people are using a certain feature. Like you have a gut feeling like everyone is using a label, right? Because it's such a basic control. So we know whatever a label has a bug, then we're going to hear about it because a lot of people are using it. Using an anchor on a pop-up, no clue if people are using that, right?
No.
So that's we'll find out the hard way. And again, just like the extension that was asked just now, like if we're going to hear about it a lot, then we know that is where we need to spend our time to get that back into the new pop-up, if we can, right? So
yeah. The other key detail, which you did show briefly on that wiki, was we now kind of shifted to supporting, because iQuery attributable to match how you pass data from view model to view model. So we now follow that. If you're using Shell, that'll just work for you. So while it's a change to the old way of doing things, it then kind of it unifies the way of passing data between. So we thought that was a
Okay,
nice
that is
change.
cool. Yeah, that is very cool. I need to let Shane on the .NET MAUI team know about this. He will like that. That is very cool. Yeah, I like that. And then I think this is probably part of the change, because that's what you started looking into initially. I think with like maybe a pop-up service to kind of like show it in a
Mhm.
little bit more MVVM kind of way.
Yes, so that did exist. That has changed a bit. I
Oh, that's
think
right.
some of the methods may have changed in terms of parameters that go into it now. So you have to pass in the, I guess, the shell implementation or the iNavigation
Right.
implementation, because that then allows you to deal with multi-window as well, because you want to make sure you're showing it in
Right.
the right place,
Yep.
which is another source of some of the bugs, is that someone would call show pop-up on one screen window of the application that was showing somewhere else. So the hope is that we've resolved that now as well.
Yep. George in the chat is saying the work gone into Pop-Up V2 is just awesome. Great work there. Yeah, absolutely. So Sean said like he started the PR, but then at some point I think Vlad from our team took over. Pictos, Pedro is always providing feedback, so that's a great. Copilot, of course, is in there with all the things. And I think I saw like 171 commits over the course of 1.5 years. 141 files changed. It's crazy. Typically, you don't want to see these big of changes, but it's been for good reason. And I feel this is like Popup is one of those features that it's just hard to kind of like divide, right? Like you're going to do the whole thing, the whole rewrite, and you want to not take away functionality from people right now.
Mhm.
So you kind of like have to go big bang with the whole thing, do it all in one go. So
Yes, I mean, if someone, I don't necessarily have to look at it now, but if someone was to look at the changes to the samples, they are actually fairly small. So if you think that
cool.
the upgrade path
Right.
should hopefully be relatively painless. I won't say pain-free, but
Cool.
quite a lot of them should be an
You know it's a
improvement.
good change whenever GitHub struggles to load all the
Oh, God.
changes in
When I
here.
was looking through it, I'm like you. I've got a lot of tabs open as well, which may also not help that situation.
Yep. No, absolutely. I was trying to pull up the samples here for a little bit. If we can see something useful. Oh, this is all deleted, so that's always useful. Delete things. Yeah, this is not super useful. We'll just have to believe Sean, right? He's a believable guy. Transition should be fairly easy.
Yes, I
Let
think
us know.
there is also a couple of things to avoid, which actually hasn't made to the documentation, but they kind of go against probably sensible practice. I think if you somehow, I forget the exact scenario. We do have samples in there that show the silly behavior. Something like if you call hide or show in on disappearing, you end up with a kind of an infinite loop where it'll just keep showing
Oh,
every time to
interesting.
close. And the other way around as well, I think on appearing is not, because on appearing can be called multiple times.
Right.
Oh, I think that
Let's
was it.
see.
If you call show pop-up in on appearing from a page, what'll happen is it'll show the pop-up, you'll close the pop-up, and then on appearing will be called, and then it'll just keep, you'll get stuck.
Right. Yeah, I was just trying to see. So everyone, I put up a couple of comments from the chat on screen while you were talking. Everyone seems to love the new pop-up, so I can't wait to actually release it. So can Eric. I didn't put that one up. Can't wait for it to be released. Well, we just talked about it. Unless something really weird happens, I'm going to try to get that out tomorrow. So then you can play with all these bits. And I think, do we still have a nightly feed? I don't know. I think so. I think we don't have NuGets on each PR, but I think we do have a nightly feed, maybe, so you can check it out right now if that's what you want. Or we should have the official version for you tomorrow or soon next week. So I was just trying to pull up what else is going to be in there. A fix animation behavior for tab gesture recognizer sounds amazing. Add missing play listener. Where's James? Where are all these people? Vlad, James, where are you? Play listener. Steps back to media element. Remove unused label. Okay, I don't know what that's about. .NET format, great. So this is going to be an interesting one. I put that actually in the show notes. Oh, I lost my show notes, which is fine. They're here in the wiki if you're looking for them. We always put them here, monthly stand-ups. And then you have references to all the previous ones. We've been doing this for a long time, I'm realizing now. But here's the one for today. It doesn't have a lot of body. I'll put it in the chat right here. I don't know how Brandon always creates these, so it still says May, but it's the June one that it links to, I promise. But this is the one that is actually on MAUI, on the MAUI side, because what happened at some point is we needed some internal bits from .NET MAUI. We, as being the toolkit team, we needed some bits that were internal in .NET MAUI, and then in .NET you have a little trick where you can say, hey, my internals for this assembly are going to be visible to that other assembly. And if you don't strongly name or sign your assemblies and whatever, then you can pretend to be the toolkit and lift off that behavior. But that's not something that you want to do, because we were like officially licensed to use the internals. But what will happen is, if it's internal, we as the .NET MAUI team, if I put the .NET MAUI team hat on, we think, hey, this is an internal API. I can just change this and no one will be impacted by this. But we didn't realize that we had this for the toolkit. So we changed some internal API, and suddenly our compatibility with the .NET MAUI community toolkit was broken, and everyone was sad, and everything was a disaster. Nothing was working anymore. No, maybe not that, but that was not great. So we decided, like, hey, if this is the types that we have internal, if that's apparently something that people need, that's something people want to use, then we should consider making them public, right? Or find some other way to implement it. So that's what I did for .NET MAUI. I just pulled it out and said, like, okay, these are this is gone now, but that didn't make for a great transition path. So what did I do? Okay, so yeah, that's what I did. I just pulled out the internals visible too. That's an attribute that you have to add, like on the .NET MAUI side, and then the community toolkit can see those. So I took out like the internals visible too, but now suddenly, the toolkit started breaking with the new versions of .NET 10 where this is planned for, because suddenly it couldn't reach the internals anymore. And for the community toolkit, we didn't really have the new code that we should use from the .NET MAUI. I don't know if this still makes sense. So that was very breaking. So I put that back, but I also made the types public that we need for the toolkit side. So now we can transition, we can make the toolkit compatible. And then for .NET 10, for a service release, we can remove the internals visible too. And then everything will be all right in the world again. We're just using public types, and we should not have breaking changes between these two projects anymore. So that's been a whole thing. That's been a whole journey, which has been amazing, interesting. Is what I wanted to say. Yeah,
George asked in the chat about, I think AvatarView is the outstanding one.
Yeah, George has been the one that has implemented the AvatarView in the .NET MAUI community toolkit, which is the one that might be the most affected almost for this internals visible too. What's the effect on AvatarView with the change? I'd like to fix if I can. Yeah, I should pull it up. Do I have it here? If I look at this here, go to the .NET MAUI repository, made a little inventory of like, hey, what are the APIs that are actually used on the community toolkit side? What are the ones that we feel comfortable actually using? So here you can see the ones that are used in AvatarView. And this one I created a PR. Actually, we should still merge that probably to come up with a alternative implementation of this thing, because that was using some internals heavily as well. But for the AvatarView is these things, and these are now public for .NET 10, mind you. So you should be able to just use these. I think I changed it for some of them to a different namespace because it was in like Microsoft MAUI internals or something. So, it's right here under this link. George, go have a look at it and let me know if anything is unclear. Cool. So that's that. That's been going on. What else do we have in here? GitHub Actions, not super important to you, but we've transitioned from Azure DevOps to GitHub Actions to release all these things to do our builds. I think tomorrow is the first time we're What did I do last time? I don't know. Did I release it last time through GitHub Actions? Maybe. So I improved it a little bit at least. So we're going to see tomorrow. The trouble with these things with the GitHub Actions and pipelines is you can kind of like only test it in production. So we're going to see what happens. It's going to be interesting. XML docs, super important. Media element. I saw some things from media element. I think I put it on the list here as well. But James is not here. I was kind of like expecting him to be here. So media element, one of the great controls that we have, right? You can play video, you can play audio with this amazing thing. I did just with like the Popup V2 actually. Like I did the initial version, which got merged, and now James took over and did an amazing job adding I don't know what's merged or what's not, but adding subtitles, adding all kinds of support. I think he replaced the whole implementation for Android, which was first like Exo Player, and now it's something else, Media 3 or something, I don't know. So he's been doing an amazing job, spending a lot of time there, making it great. So all of that is there too.
I know that the main topic for the first discussion is basically with media element as in its current state, it expects you to hook into the foreground service on Android.
Okay.
Which comes with some additional permissions, which you basically apps have to put in place.
Okay.
Which people don't always want. So the aim here
Right.
is to
That makes sense.
allow you not to have to do that. And I think it's close. I think it's a case of
it's a lot of discussion.
It's been quite a discussion. It's around basically whether we allow people to jump in and out of needing this or not. But I think it's just going to be a opt-in per app rather than per use of the media element.
Right.
And then we tried to be clever about using a source generator to do some of the permission addition, but we think we'll walk before we can run.
Yeah, absolutely. That's usually the right approach with these kinds of things. Yeah, absolutely agree. There was probably a good reason to use the foreground service. I imagine it has something to do maybe with like the background playing or something.
You can get all the notifications on the lock screen then.
Oh, that's right. Those kinds of things. Yeah. But then people, rightfully so, also are very concerned with like, hey, what are the permissions that I need to declare for my app, right? Because I think Android is doing a better job. For iOS, you can at least explain a little bit to the user of like, hey, I'm using this permission for this and that. But still, like, I think specifically Android lists like the permissions on the App Store listing, right? So it will say like, oh, we need your precise location and we need your, I don't know, this and this and that. And if you just look at like the store listing, you'll be like, wow, I don't know, you're going to skip it, right? If you see too much permissions there that you can't really justify, we're like, okay, this app, I don't know why it needs my location or whatever. I'm just going to find another one. So people want to be very mindful of the permissions that they're adding right there. So that totally makes sense. And I'm all for options that we can give to developers for like, hey, if you want to implement this, that's fine. If you want to disable it, that's fine too. That's your choice.
Yeah, there is a delicate balancing act though, because I think this came about because a lot of people didn't add the permissions in and reported bugs. So it's a case of we will do it for you. But then we've maybe gone a step too far by doing too much for people.
And the Glenn is saying Roslyn is fun to work with. Yeah, I've been doing some work with that. Absolutely, it's definitely fun. It can also be very complicated, but it's definitely something else that what I've been doing typically. So hopefully this will. It's been a little project, so hopefully that will come at some point, and I can tell you more about it. Cool. I see more people are watching, but not more people in the chat. We need to fix that. Get in the chat. Let us know what you are thinking and get into the discussion because we're running out of stuff to talk about. Actually, I saw another one in here, which I kind of like put on the list, which is not super related, but still kind of is because it's right here in the .NET MAUI Community Toolkit repository, which is the Copilot Instructions, which is very cool. Of course, everything is about AI today, or not these days. So I'm not going to bore you with like all the marketing talk and every cool thing that you can do. But I will say that I have been using it more and more lately. I notice about myself that I'm using it in like an increasing fashion, in all kinds of ways. Which is really cool. So I basically, this is completely off script. So I wrote github.com. This is me.
You wrote github.com?
Sorry?
Sorry, terrible joke. Carry on.
Messaging center. So this plugin, I started with this because, okay, whole backstory again. .NET MAUI had the messaging center, which is like a publish subscriber kind of like messaging thing to decouple code, which is for me typically your last resort. That's not something that you want to use, but for some scenarios it absolutely works, right? So we had that, and I think we put that in Xamarin Forms mostly because we needed it ourselves there to send messages from like the platform layer to the shared layer, and there was no real coupling at that time. But it was super slow, right? It was just something we needed. We made it public. So like for, hey, you can use it too, but it was super slow, not optimized, memory leakages. We should get rid of it. So that's what we've been doing. And we already obsoleted it some versions ago. I think .NET 7 from the top of my head, and then at some point we removed it. I think for .NET 9 maybe, and then people were like complaining, getting into the issues. See, we're listening, and we put it back. That's what happened. We removed it. Well, we internalized it, so we removed it for you. But then so many people were like, "No, I'm not ready for this. I need some transition path, whatever, whatever." So we put it back. Right. So that's what we do. We listen to feedback. But now we really removed it for .NET 10 and we're not putting it back. Okay. So kind of like as a transition, what I tried to do there is to create this plugin. And I made the first draft and it worked. But it missed a couple of things. So then I, got my Copilot involved and I said like, hey, this is the original interface definition from .NET MAUI. Here are the original unit tests from .NET MAUI. Have a go at it. I want the unit tests to succeed. Don't change the tests. Make sure that everything is implemented in this interface because that's the public API that I want everyone to keep using. You just need to want to drop in this library and it still works. And it did an amazing job. Like, sure, it needed some time. It needed some more instructions. You have to talk to your Copilot like you talk to your 5-year-old kid, right? You are a software developer on the MAUI team. I want you to do this and that, but absolutely do not do that. This is mandatory. And if you give it like a set of instructions, it will go at it and it will go and do it. And it came up with a working plugin. So that's really, really cool. Fun fact, the first version that I wrote with Copilot, all the unit tests passed. Then I run it in a sample application, did not work at all, right? So definitely make sure that you check everything that comes out of like Copilot and stuff. But it can absolutely be very useful in a different number of ways. So this plugin is right there. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know how it goes. But this is something that I did much faster with the help of Copilot. And the other thing that you can do is Copilot Instructions, which will make your GitHub repository basically smarter. Do you know anything about this, Sean?
No, I know George in the chat has mentioned I think he did the original PR to provide the instructions.
Cool. Yeah. So what this? Oh, here we go. George added these. So George, come on, get online and talk about it. Actually, that's not a bad idea. So what this does is basically it is a concept by GitHub, right? To kind of like help Copilot understand your repository a little bit better. So this is basically your basic baseline instruction for your repository. Whenever you pull up like Copilot, which is right here, right? You pull it up and it will start reading your repository and it will start reading this file right here, in which you can kind of like say, hey, you can say what your repository is about, right? Toolkit. Is this actually the thing I want to do? I don't know. It's
You're
not.
giving it
Oh,
some
there we go.
context,
So,
aren't you?
yeah, I'm used to a little bit of a different format, I guess, but this probably works too. So, I guess this may be more the guidelines for the users right here, but you can tell Copilot to, hey, always use trace write line for debug logging instead of debug write line. Include a cancellation token whenever you do these things, right? And Copilot will kind of like use these instructions and be like, okay, I see you want to use this, and it's going to take that into account whenever it starts generating code for your repository here. So that's kind of like what you can do with all of these. Have a look at the MCT Copilot instructions. Am I not looking at them, George? George is saying things here. Am I not looking in the right thing? Am I lying to people? Is that what's going on here? I don't think so. prompts. So we have prompts too. Prompts.prompt and the prompt. So there we go. Cool. So we have a different. Oh, okay. I guess this is it then. So we have like the prompts right here with like, hey, do's, don'ts. That's the important thing that I just noticed, that I just mentioned too, right? Like tell it what to do, but also definitely tell it what to not do, right? So here you can see all the rules, which is definitely also very useful if you are a human that want to contribute, right? It's maybe not super necessarily written as very human friendly all the time, but you should be able to make sense.
It's not that unfriendly though, is it?
It's not that
still
unfriendly.
in a
Yeah.
human readable form, which is quite nice.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole thing about this AI, right? It's like
Mhm.
language, natural language kind of like stuff. So it should be readable. It shouldn't. It's not like the formal tone maybe that you would typically use for like, "Hey, user, we're so glad you're here. Please look at these guidelines." Right? We're skipping all of that. We're just saying, this is what you do. This is what you don't.
I'm
And that's
intrigued
about
by that use observable collection, because there are times when you don't want, you know what I mean? There are some times when it can perform better by not using
Ooh,
observable.
there you go.
But
Well, now you know where it is, Sean. Fix it. Fix it. Cool. So yeah, we got these prompts. We got the instructions right here. So that's been very, very cool. What have we got in chat? AI is a good partner for seed data. Absolutely, absolutely. You could just say, "Hey, give me some sample data for this thing." And actually, what I was working on today, I'm working on a little app myself, which is a little silly thing, for which I said, I wanted to, which is a mobile app, it's a MAUI app, and I wanted to bring it to the store, which is a pain that everyone knows. And I said, like, hey, generate this GitHub action for me. I'm thinking if it's a private repository just because it has secrets in there. So I'm going to see if I can pull it up without kind of like spilling all kinds of secrets here. So I asked it to come up with these workflows right here, to do the release, to bring it to the app stores. And it came up with a pretty decent thing. It needed a couple of hints here and there, but it comes up with a pretty decent thing. And you see it handles the secrets amazingly, right? It says like, hey, this is something that is sensitive. You should put that in a secret. And so it did. But on top of that, even more important, like I know how to do this, right? But even more important, I did check it in. There we go. Is it gave me the instructions on how to actually get all these files. If you've ever been releasing apps to the App Store, you know this is what you want to know, right? And this is not even what this is kind of like your basic description. But if we go down, it tells you like, hey, get distribution certificate, open Xcode, do this and that. Go to the Apple Developer Portal. This is still a little bit high over. You need to know what you're doing. But for the Android setup, for instance, like it's very verbose with like, hey, do this command, right? Go to the Google Play Store, create a new account, get the JSON key. It tells you what to do, which is super valuable because it's been a little while since I went through all the App Store things. This was super, super helpful. So it comes up with the instructions on how to do it on top of how to actually do the YAML to actually release something to the store. So again, I'm not paid to talk about all of this, at least not on my free, what is it, Thursday evening. I keep being amazed about how helpful this Copilot stuff can actually be. Are you using it? Like I'm very. I have to say this disclaimer. I'm very spoiled because I work at Microsoft. I get all of this stuff for free. I don't know what is paid or what's not, or what kind of tiers there are. I can just use all of this. Actually, I'll be punished if I don't use it. So I use all this stuff heavily, and I recognize that there is stuff that people need to pay for here. So I cannot assume that everyone is just using this the same way that I am. But are you using this at all, Sean, for your work?
yes, I mean, so the personal private work or private the side project work, yes.
Sure.
It's been a bit of a tricky one with I guess the day job.
Yeah.
Whole concerns around leakage of IP and things like that.
Yep.
I mean, the project that we've been working on, we've not even been allowed to discuss with other employees in the companies.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
But I think that they have now come up with some level of agreement. I don't know if they're hosting something internally or making sure that the data is not being sent back. So
Right.
we have some level of AI that we are allowed to use on the day job. But I know I was actually
Okay.
chatting to someone this morning, and they're not, because there are too many concerns around things like leakage of IP
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yep. No, that totally makes sense. Definitely something to keep in mind, right? Like it's very easy to forget whenever you're just you have little button everywhere, right? Copilot, blah blah, and you don't even think about it, and you just paste it in here. And especially with like non-technical people too, right? Like my wife works in like healthcare, kind of like stuff, which is super sensitive, obviously. But she has no clue that she's actually sending data to some server in America, right? If she is not careful, which is not what you want to do. So there's all kinds of concerns. It's definitely good to be aware of all of that. But for like hobby kind of like things, it's a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I've used it having the chat in GitHub,
Yeah,
and Visual Studio Code,
yep,
and kind of allowing it having the context of the file, and you say, well, I just want to tweak this one thing. I've been amazed at the different combinations it comes up with the same kind of set of changes.
yeah,
Some will probably go to lengths you don't necessarily always need to, but it's quite in depth and
yeah.
very impressive what it comes up with.
Cool.
But I
don't
did
have
like
full
George's comment earlier of before AI, dev 2 weeks, test 2 days. After AI, dev 1 day, test 2 months.
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely true. That's kind of like me whenever I do use it also for, I don't know, whenever we need a build pipeline, we need a little bit of PowerShell, that kind of stuff. I know my way around it, but not like super well. So I'll be like, hey, can you help me write this thing in PowerShell? And we're like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Generates a whole bunch of stuff, and it works 80-90%, but then the 10 to 20% that doesn't work, I will spend so much time trying to figure out why it's not working, that I would probably have been faster to just learn my way through the PowerShell things again, so that I was and do it step by step, instead of kind of trying to backtrace what the Copilot has been doing for me, and still spend the same amount of time. So yeah, there's absolutely some truth here. Let's see, there was a couple of other things. Scrolling back, I'd love to see, this is more of a .NET MAUI thing, I guess. I'd love to see some changes to Picker. I'm curious what is the things that you want to see in Picker, Eric? Please let me know, because one of the things I did for, actually, let me just bring up my screen again. I always love to show things while I'm talking about it.
I heard date
Um,
time pickers. Is that the one you're going to talk about? Date pickers gone nullable now, hasn't it?
yeah, exactly. That's something that a lot of people have been asking for. .NET MAUI, here we go. Is nullable date pickers and nullable time pickers. Nullable picker something. Let's pick it. Yeah, pick it. Sure. Let's do it. There we go. Reduce confusion. Yeah, that's something that sounds good too. And this is all kinds of other things. Okay, so I don't know where they went. Does it only do it like this? Date picker. I don't know where they went. They should be here somewhere. Nullable time picker and date picker. There we go. This is something that has been requested for a long time ago, even in Xamarin Forms, and I'm not even sure why we didn't do it. But now for .NET 10, I was like, yeah, this is a thing. Let's actually start doing it. So I implemented it, and it's merged for .NET 10. So I think it's actually in previews right now. You can start try it out if that's what you want. But if you're talking about other things, that would be cool too. I do think that was in your comment just now. I do think Syncfusion is coming out with something pickers too. Syncfusion, there we go. So Syncfusion, if you are not aware, we've partnered with Syncfusion since I think almost a year now, or a little bit more or less. And as part of that, they have created also a MAUI toolkit to make things even more confusing. And they have been doing some amazing stuff. It's all open source. It's free. The controls that are in here, they also have a paid suite of controls, but they also have some amazing free controls. You can see it right here: data visualization, calendars, editors, navigation, layout. They have some cool stuff. And I think they also are planning to release some pickers as part of this. So definitely keep your eye on that if that's what you want. Connor, what are you saying? Very happy to see a fix I've been waiting for included in the next release. New Popup implementation looks fantastic. Great work. Well, we always love to hear that. Thank you so much. I'm just seeing what else is in here.
I did add 2 more discussions to the
Ooh, okay.
agenda, if you need
I'll
to.
get right back to you. Copilot prompts. Let's Let me see. When are we going to see more videos from Gerald? We know we've been busy, but we have like and subscribe atrophy. Yeah, I get that. I've been thinking about doing videos and then I'll be like, oh, this is a good topic. And then I think of all the work I need to do to actually get it done. And I'm like, oh, I just can't right now. It's a little bit creator burnout, I guess. It's a real thing. I've been super busy with like the Nullable DateTimePickers, time pickers, all kinds of crazy stuff, .NET Aspire integration, improvements for XAML. So focusing on the actual work stuff, and then some events and whatnot. I definitely want to go back to videos. I'm not sure if it's going to be weekly because that's not something that has happened for a long time now. But I do really enjoy it, and I do really enjoy the feedback that comes from it, and that I can show you the cool things that we were working on. So I'm definitely going to get back to it, hopefully soon. But then it's going to be summer, and I'm going to be on vacation for 3 weeks as well, because that's what we do in Europe. But I'm going to get back to it. I promise. Can't tell you exactly when, but I'll get back to it. Okay, so let's see what Sean put in here in the notes, if I can find my notes again. I lost everything. Oh, here was the community toolkit. See, this is how it happens. I already have 4 tabs open, and I will always be like, yeah, I need this one thing. I'm gonna get back to that. And before you know it, you have tons of tabs open. Ooh, oh my gosh. Okay, more custom layouts. Sounds good. What are we doing? Michael Stonis. I met him for the first time at Microsoft Build, which is cool. Sean.
Well, we're not necessarily doing anything yet.
Cool.
I know we have our general rule of people wanting the feature before we necessarily commit to it.
Yep.
But Michael suggested that we take the code from that custom layout examples and potentially turn them into controls. Which
interesting.
I was actually surprised at how little code there is to achieve this. So it becomes less worry about maintenance if there's not too much to it. But it looks good. I don't see why. There's some scenarios I'm not sure I understand the use of things like cascade layout, but I know I don't speak for everyone in terms of use cases when we look at this. So yeah, that was an example, and like I say, it looks pretty good. So the aim is to kind of see what people think, and obviously if we put it in the chat, then
putting it in the chat now. Make sure to vote on it if this is something that's interests you. That's how we work. I've mentioned it a couple of times. Yeah, that is cool. Just have a little code. Yeah, that's basically what you said. So that's cool. It would be cool to make that happen. Awesome. And this, Stephen was in the chat. I'm not sure if he's still here now. Source generators to support partial properties. Yeah, I've read something about that. Partial property support. So I think maybe you have a little bit more context. I think I've been looking into this. I think to update our so for .NET MAUI, we now have a template where you can say, hey, include sample application, and it will include a full featured application basically, which also uses Syncfusion stuff. And I think there were some warnings or stuff in there, and I was like, okay, we can fix this. And then I also updated the dependency because we're using the MVVM toolkit. It's all coming back to me now. And then it started talking about like, yeah, you should solve this with partial properties, which I then wanted to do. But if you wanted to do that, you had to enable like preview features or whatever, because partial properties is still something in preview in the C# language right now.
Yeah, so I think the lang version you have to set to preview in order to achieve that.
And that's kind of like what held me back for like the official templates or whatever. Like I'm not comfortable with setting something preview to enabled for people's template that they're going to start from, right? So that's what kind of like held me back there. But it's going to be in preview for temporary. But what's this about? What will bring this for us?
So I don't know if this benefits the community that much at the moment, because I think our bindable property. So we have a source generator, which I think Pedro originally wrote.
Oh, that's right.
That will do all of the heavy lifting. You don't have to write them.
Yep.
Or don't have to remember how to do it, or go and copy and paste an existing one, as we all do. So I believe we've got the source generator. We do have the source generator in the toolkit, but I believe it's internal at the moment. We don't expose it to others because we want to test it and make sure that it's not going to introduce errors. Although I think we've probably got close to thinking that we're actually pretty happy with it. I don't know if we've rolled out everywhere, so it might be a case of rolling out in further places to test it more.
Yeah.
But obviously the key thing at the moment is I actually forget the syntax now, because originally what you want to do is you want to define the property and then have that generate all of the scaffolding around it. Whereas the partial properties didn't exist. But now, as Stephen's highlighted, it does exist. So it is something we could use. Now, I am also under the same opinion as yourself, as I wouldn't necessarily ship it as an official thing until partial properties are an official release.
Yep.
But I know we use partial properties in our samples app anyway.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Yeah, so this is cool. I see it actually has like the right amount of votes already. Let me just put it in here.
Oh, I thought I had 4 when I last checked. I must have
Well,
missed
there
that.
you go.
Or maybe I looked at the wrong one.
I'll just put the link in there. You know what we're talking about because you're watching this video. So yeah, and if you want to check out what it's all about anyway, Stephen did a great job with like, hey, he basically prepared all the code. He's been involved with like the camera view too, and I've talked to him in the past. He's been doing great stuff too, and he prepared this whole repository where he basically has the whole concept working, and he wants to donate it to our project and maybe make it a little bit more official so that more people can benefit from that as well. So that's amazing work. Definitely vote on that. Try it out if that's something that you're interested in. Yeah, this is great stuff. This is why we do this. Amazing. Cool. Well, we still kind of filled the time. Where's my notes? I don't know. I lost everything. I don't think we had anything else. So that's great. Thank you so much for hanging out in the chat. There's some other chat going on here. Not a lot of questions, I think. Connor saying your Appium browser stack samples were a big help to us. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. That's what I do it for. This will help me get back into creating videos. So definitely, if you have ideas, let me know what it is that you want to see. I'll put like a blog post out or a video or whatever.
So
Sean,
rather than asking Chat GPT, we can just ask Chat Gerald.
Yeah. Yep. Chat Gerald, yeah, that's what everyone has been doing. Actually, now that you mention, it has died down a little bit. So maybe that's it. Maybe I should create a LLM just for my thing, and I will point people to my videos all the time. Whenever they ask a question, it's like, here's a link to a video, and whenever it can come up with a link, it will send the idea to me so that I can make a video, and then next time it can send the link. This is a great idea. I'm going to actually do this. Stephen, there he is. See, thank you so much for sharing the bindable property discussion. Absolutely.
I don't know if we're supposed to technically vote on these things to approve them or not.
So I guess we kind of like have to, but we're the two of us, so we're not going to win now anyway. We're not going to have a majority.
The majority of the attendees.
Of the attendees, that's right. We overrule everything now. Jury duty, right here. No, so I think we do have to, but at least kind of like upvote the discussions that you see there, so that we can kind of like gauge interest of like what it is that you want to see. Because George is asking here too, like, what would the community like to see for the next MCT? Definitely a good question. If you have something right now, put it in the chat. We got like 2 minutes left, so put it in there. But otherwise, probably what is a better thing to do, just put it into discussions, put it into the repo. That's kind of like our single source of truth. That's what we're looking at. So make sure to put everything in there. That's our administration. And we always appreciate a good idea. We also appreciate like your own initiative, right? Just like Stephen has been doing. Spike some proof of concept. We're also, you can see like now we're just 2 people. The team is always like a couple of people, and we're all doing this in our spare time, right? Because this is a community project built on top of the official .NET MAUI SDK. But we're doing this all in our spare time. So if you want to see a feature, you could definitely help us out with like doing the initial work, and then even more by kind of like owning that area for as much as you have bandwidth for. We would like to have you on our kind of like core team. You can join here on the stand-ups every month if that's what you want, and you can kind of like keep working on your little area and make things even better for everyone, right? So it's a community project.
Yeah, but I think as well, like contributions don't necessarily always have to come in code form. Like most of the contributions I do is typically around documentation. If someone wants to test a feature, if they know that it's coming and they want to help speed up the release,
Yep.
getting involved in that also helps.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, last closing one. George, when is MAUI.NET 10 expected to be released? November, yes. Every major new version of .NET is going to be in November, launched together with .NET Conf. I think it's now November 13 from the top of my head. So that's when the new .NET 10 will be launched together with like the new version of ASP.NET with MAUI, I don't know, Blazor, all the kind of like the things that fall under .NET. So then that will be the new .NET version. And as Glenn pointed out, LTS for .NET MAUI does not exist, right? For .NET MAUI, we are separate from the whole STS LTS cycle. There is no long-term support for MAUI. .NET 8 for .NET MAUI out of support right now. You should be on .NET 9 and then on .NET 10 come November. So keep that in mind. There is a video for that. Go find it on my channel and send it to your manager to hopefully get them on .NET 9. Okay, thank you all so much for hanging out in the chat. Thank you, Sean, for actually making it to an hour with just the two of us. Who needs the rest? Right? Yeah, we did very well. Thank you so much. We'll be doing the hard work. I'm gonna have to see if I will be here for the July one because that's right around when we'll be on vacation. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but probably someone will be here, or else we'll see you in August. But I'm pretty sure that we'll be here for July. If you're gonna go on vacation, enjoy, and we will see you for the next time. Thanks so much.
Bye all.
Bye. Oh no! I should have said something prepared. Yes, here it comes. Is that? Oh, but we're still here. Wait. I can do this.